happy to have you back on the platform, my man.
Man, sooner than what I thought. But listen here, bro. Last time I was on, I was talking about a bourbon that I own now. I own along with my man Vinny and NYC Bugatti. I got it right here, but this one is going to be for you, brother. This one's going to be for you. I'm going to show you that my parents taught me well. I should have had a bottle for you then, and now I got a bottle for you. I'm going to sign this. I'm going to give it to Matt, and I want this to be your own personal collection, man. I'm an owner now of this bourbon. I appreciate what Vinny and NYC Bugatti did for me, man. And thanks to you and the people around the country that's been supporting me, I'm able to do this right now. So I'm going to sign this bottle. This is going to be a special bottle for you with my name on it, Big Gene.
Oh man, appreciate that, man. I'm not really a liquor guy, but I'm sure it's good though, man.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Matt, man. And just, listen here, bro. You enjoy it. If you enjoy it, I know you would because it's a great bourbon. And I have more bottles for you throughout the year.
Yes, indeed. That's love, man. I appreciate that, man. But I had to bring you back. I mean, your name buzzing out here, man. I know 50, he reacted to our interview and shows you love. And Stevie J, he been speaking on you as well. How well do you know him, yo?
Bruh, listen to me. I'm here to answer questions. You understand? I know Stevie J better than I know 50. I used to bodyguard Stevie J. You understand? I was his personal bodyguard at the time when he used to move around in New York City. Stevie J at one time was like a little nephew to me. You know what I'm saying? When he was working up at Bad Boy, making all those hits. You know what I'm saying? Me, BX Murder, being around Wolf, all of us. Stevie J, when Puff had ostracized him and wasn't dealing with him no more, I was still looking out for Stevie, being around Stevie the whole 9 yards. I know Stevie J to answer your question very well, brother. Very well. Man, listen to me. Stevie J was in the car with us when Big got murdered, brother. In the car behind us. I sold a chain that weekend to Stevie J that he didn't even pay me for the cross on it or nothing. You know what I'm saying? He gave me half the money. He took that same chain that I sold him, brother, and gave it to Faith the night that Big died, talking about he was giving it to little Chris. He didn't even own the chain at the time. So I know Stevie J real well. He could play those games like he don't know me, but he knows me very well. He done said a lot of clown shit on the internet about me. You understand? Talking about I got bad knees and all this other bullshit. Man, I'll kick Stevie J so far to that, he'll take shoe polish. I don't know when he became a fucking gangster. Excuse me for my language. I don't know when he became a gangster. He was talking all that gangster stuff about 50 and what he'll do and how he was never that type of dude, bro, man. That's them drugs, man. That is them drugs. Stevie J better set his little ass down. He'd be the first nigga in the church. Everybody be come looking at him, and he wouldn't be making a sound. Do you understand me? He'll be the first nigga in the church, dressed better than everybody, and wouldn't be making a sound. Everybody be coming to see him. He ain't no gangster. He needs to stop that, bruh. He talking to people who was in the streets that was gangsters. And I'm just giving him like a formal, chastising to somebody that once used to care about him. It's the drugs, bruh. You know what I'm saying? 50 type of dude that he don't want to mess with like that. He talking about he want to fight 50. Nigga, listen here. I'm taking all them bets. I'm putting my money on 50. You understand? My house, my car, whatever I got, jewelry, whatever. You understand? 50 whoop his ass on the way to a real fight. That's them drugs, man. If that ain't drugs that kid is taking that got him talking like that, man, the Pope ain't Catholic and the pig ain't pork. He's out of his mind, man. See, they got all kinds of cocaine now. They taking the pink cocaine, what the flavor different cocaine, bro. Stevie J is out of his mind, man. He's saying he didn't know me. Listen to me, bro. I'm gonna tell you, since he want to talk and he wants to be out there. The week that they were setting up or whatever, that Big got killed, Stevie J and Mace went to a basketball game together. And at that basketball game, those Crips, I think the Dogg Pound, pulled them to the side and told both of them that, oh, y'all good, man. You understand? It's Puff we want and it's Big we want. They had that conversation with them cats. Stevie J should have been talking about he didn't tell Big nothing. He may have told Puff, but he ain't tell Big nothing. And I don't think Mace had a conversation with Big about that. But Mace had a conversation with Puff about it. I pulled Mace out the side when I seen him and Stevie J when they was riding around Cali with this dude that was a fanoit, so some dude with a lot of money, but he switched sides. You understand? He's one of those switch hitters or whatever. You know what I mean? So now, which ain't nothing wrong with it. If they want to have gay friends, they can have gay friends in the whole 9 yards. But I pulled Mace to the side and I told Mace, listen here, man, you from Harlem. So act like you from Harlem. These people are ready to tear your head down to the white meat. Nah, but Stevie J say his man is thorough out here. He's thorough, but it's a whole different type of thorough. You understand? Or whatever that may be. Stevie J had Mace out there with these type of people. So now, the day Big was murdered, you understand? We was in the car in front of them, right? If you see that picture that I showed you, I got the number 4. That was a Mecca Audio shirt on. I mean a Mecca shirt on. Mecca used to give me their clothes, give me free clothes because they wanted me to wear their stuff because they knew Puff was popular and Puff was the man and they wanted their clothes to be seen on certain bodyguards and certain people. They used to give me boxes of clothes. You understand? Shout out my man Griff at the time he was at Mecca. So now we sitting in there, bro. I done told everybody in the house, if we go to this party, somebody gonna die tonight. They laughing and joking and thinking it's a joke. I even told Big before we left. Stevie J at that party popping bottles with Puff. That picture, I hope you show it to the people. You understand? I'm right there. Stevie J know damn well who I am. So now, Stevie J ain't have a conversation with Big about if he go to this party, he gonna die because of what he had heard those guys tell Mace and him at the basketball game. They never told Big nothing. But yet and still, when Big was murdered, he ran over to wherever Faith was at after we left the hospital. Gave Faith my chain. Because when I asked him, he said, yo, man, I was bugging. I gave it to little Faith to give to little Chris. I even asked Faith for my chain. She said, Gene, you could get it back. But I felt kind of effed up, so I said, yo, go ahead and keep it. Because Zip got in touch with her for me. I said, that wasn't Stevie J chain to give you, Faith. He hadn't even paid for it. You understand? So now, he ran over that because we was all going to take Puff to San Diego. I had the Black Hands crew following us in the whole 9 yards. Puff stopped the car. Told Paul to stop the car. Paul said, yo, Gene, we don't need all that. I said, we don't need all that. Big just got killed. What are you talking about? Yo, he gave me my girlfriend back. You understand? He gave me my girlfriend back. I put it up. Him and all them, they came back to the hotel. You know what I'm saying? Got the rest of Puff stuff. We were standing in the Beverly Hills Hotel. You understand? So now, Stevie J goes over there to Faith and Listen here. I guess that was the start of their romance or started to rekindle their romance. Stevie J is the one who helped Faith do the album. And Faith was talking about her love for Big, bruh. He helped write I don't know if he helped write the music. I know he made the music, but he helped Faith on that whole album to Big, bruh. And then he goes back and married Big's ex-wife after he was murdered. Come on, man. Like I said, if he don't know me, the Pope ain't Catholic and pig ain't pork.
Yeah, but speaking of the night Big got killed, I know Stevie J, he said it was a regular night for him. He didn't really, see anything out the ordinary.
Regular night, brother. Regular night. And you gonna tell me ain't nobody on drugs? But then I seen the interview he did. We was in the middle of the East Coast, West Coast war. Dog, that's drugs that make you do that kind of thing. Talk like that. That white man just done tricked him, and I ain't no disrespect to him. Had this dude up there talking all kind of crazy talk, bruh. How is that a regular night, bruh? Tupac dead. They blamed it on us. Jake dead. They blamed it on us. A lot of stuff was going in the industry. How was that a regular night? 23 of us went into that party. 11 of us was probably feeling a certain way, and they jetted on us. They left the party. So how was it a regular night? Ray Charles could have seen that it wasn't no regular night, bro. I don't know where he get that from. That's crazy, bro. It's so regular, Big ended up dead, right? That's how regular it was. Yo, bro, Tupac was loved by the West Coast as well as the East Coast or down south. Tupac was loved. If they put out there in the atmosphere that the guys that had something to do with, or maybe had something to do with the death of arguably one of the top 5 rappers of all time, and the love that he had with all the music he had just put out in shorter time with him coming out of jail, you're gonna tell me that ain't nobody, not nobody, wanna kill somebody over him or hurt somebody? Big Jake was loved by the Bloods out there. You gonna tell me don't nobody, not one person, wanna hurt somebody over Jake's death? Are you serious, bruh? It was nothing regular about that night. It wasn't so regular. It's something no regular. He knew that Wolf said he wasn't coming out there unless he was coming out there right. Wolf wanted to take 2 tour buses with us. So now he noticed he close to Puff at this time. So he know what's going on. That the head knocker, the problem solver, he not even going to LA because he know it ain't safe. What do you mean? He couldn't take it serious. So if he didn't take it serious, and he wasn't serious, why did he say on that Faith documentary of the greatest love of all time, hip hop love or something like that it was an East Coast war at the time? Make up your mind.
How surprised was you when you seen them dating, Faith and Stevie J?
Yo, when Stevie J started messing around with Faith, I knew that allegedly the drugs had got to her and the drugs had got to him. Is no way in hell corny ass Stevie J, cornball ass Stevie J was anybody that I could ever see after knowing the dudes that Faith used to be around and used to be with. Now she's dealing with Stevie J. Yo, bruh, cocaine is a hell of a drug. is a hell of a drug. Because there's no way that a person that helped you produce music for your ex-husband and produce music for you singing your love to Big is a type of dude that you want to go back and be with them. I was shocked. Bro, to be totally honest, man, when I first saw Faith on stage at the Palladium, she was drop dead gorgeous. I'm talking about drop dead gorgeous, brother. Motherfucking two pigs in a bucket. She was thick as thunder. She had the white, like silver, she had like the silver hot pants suit on, and she was singing. I was like, yo, damn, who the fuck is that? They said, yo, that's Big's wife. And I said, Big? Big's wife? And then I said, they said, yeah, that's Big's wife. I said, damn, what's wrong with her? You know what I'm saying? Because I used to joke like that. I said, damn, what's wrong with her? You know what I'm saying? They said, no, man, I was like, yo, man, leave that alone. But to see her with Stevie J, man, I was like, nah. And then Big was the type of dude that had mad charisma. When you get to know him and be around him, you can see why honeys go at him. Other than the fact they think he got a lot of money and he gonna spend that money because he gotta spend that money. You understand? Because him and his status, they get past all the looks and everything. To be totally honest with you. You understand? That's why, his own man was jealous of him, D-Rock. You understand? I used to see girls scream and holler at Big and used to fall out on the floor crying. And then D-Rock used to say, Mom, you doing that for Chris? For Chris? I was like, yo, this nigga right here. But to see Stevie J go to Faith, man, listen to me. That's some asinine ass backwards shit that you would never expect to happen. But that's the music industry. That's Hollywood. Anything could happen.
So for you, you look at it as betrayal.
Portrayal at the worst. You can't even think of a word for that. Portrayal? Man, come on, man. All the women in this world, you understand? Now, if he was going to just slide with her and lay with her here and there and not be out in the public eye and let nobody know, then all right, it is what it is. But to go and knowing that you wasn't going to do right, knowing that you wasn't right, knowing that you ain't have a pot to piss in and a boot to pour it out, knowing that there's nothing that you could do, come on, bruh. Yo, that nigga was foul for that, bruh. He was foul in so many different ways to deal with his partners. What I wouldn't say him and Big was partners, but y'all was cool, y'all was close, y'all did music, like that. It's no way. You understand? She could have been sitting there butt the F naked, and I wouldn't have touched her with a 10-foot pole, man, because I knew Big. You understand? But some people ain't got that kind of moral rights. You see how he do. You see what he's about. You know what I mean? There's no way. It's not a word that you can even think about that.
But what about her? You don't put some of the blame on her?
Well, I can't judge and put myself in a position to think nor feel what that woman could feel. I don't know. I can only give you from a man point of view. And a man point of view that's been around dudes and we all in the same clique all around each other. You understand? The girlfriends, the wives, all that shit's supposed to be off limit no matter what she do. That's why I said she could be straight butt naked walking in the room ready. Nah, Ma, it's not happening. We not doing this. Not at all. You understand? He got to be more man than that. He got to be more of a stand-up dude than that. That's not no local shit. That's not no regular shit. That's Faith Evans, a.k.a. the former Mrs. Biggie Smalls, the notorious Big's wife. You can't do that. What would people think? What would people say? You was looking at her all the time. I knew you ran to the room. You ran to see Faith. Come on, man. It's the worst.
Hypothetically, right? If Big was alive, how you think he would feel about that? Because I don't know him personally. You knew him personally, so
It wouldn't have never happened if he was alive. You understand? You know, Big with this clique was about loyalty. You understand? There were certain things that was happening in Junior Mafia. And certain Junior Mafia dudes was messing with Little Kim, even though they had a situation. You understand what I'm saying? And Big sat down and told me the whole story. He said, yo, I know Money L is messing with Lil Kim. Money L was his man, doing the loop with him. But should Lil Kim been off limits too? It was a lot of stuff that was going on in that whole clique, bro. And Big sat down there when in the Winnebago, when he was telling me his whole life story, what he was planning on doing, how he was doing, and what he was doing. I seen that a lot of them wasn't that close, and they was there for the ride. So to understand how Big would have felt, it would never got to that feeling. Stevie J wouldn't have dared. Stevie J wasn't no tough dude, bruh. I don't know where you get this gangster shit from. I don't know what Stevie J get now all of a sudden, you know, what he'll do and how he'll do something and everything. The dudes I know in the Bronx and Harlem ain't rocking with him like that no more. After the disrespect to Mama Jones, him and Puff, after the disrespect to Mama Jones, them dudes ain't rocking with them cats like that no more. He's changed his life. He's God first. That's BF. They used to call him BX Murder. He goes by the name of God's first. You understand now? He used to run all the Bloods over there in the valley and all that. He used to back Stevie J, Bad Boy, and all, Wolfing them and their whole crew. But when those dudes came out of jail, Corey and them, and they disrespect Mama Jones, when Puff disrespect Mama Jones, all that shit got thrown out the window. Stevie J don't get no pass no more. Them niggas gotta hire police. So he would have never tried to do nothing like that if Big was alive. How would Big feel? Big would have never had to feel that or feel nothing because it would have never happened. Those cats was so motherfucking scary, man. They wouldn't have bust a grape in a wine factory. All that tough talk, all that stuff they doing now for the internet, they wasn't like that. They had to hire people to be around them to make sure they was good. But it sounds good for the internet, bro. Sounds good for the internet.
speaking of Stevie J, what you know about his relationship with Diddy?
Well, when Stevie J first got his start with Diddy, you know what I'm saying, Diddy treated him just like he was treating everybody else. Robbing them blind, and they didn't even know it. Because they didn't know anything about the record industry. There's a lot of kids that used to come up there, mold them. They was from the Hood Fellas, 50 Cent. A lot of people used to write for Diddy, and he'll just give them 10,000. Yo, here go 10. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know nothing about the publishing and everything. They can go flip that money on the street and double it, triple, however they was doing it. But they didn't know about the publishing. They didn't know about the points and the percentages and all the stuff that you're supposed to know, you understand, when you're writing songs. They just thought that, you know, I got 10, 20,000 for doing this. I'm good. You feel me? So Stevie J was one of those guys that was producing music, getting on track, making beats, and doing all the things that you're supposed to do. And Puff was doing just like he was doing to everybody else. Robbing them. Then I guess somebody come in, they get management, they get people and start getting points and start getting stuff. Now Puff don't like you no more. Because you know more about the business that he wants you to know. So Stevie's one of those dudes that he fell out of Puff grace. You understand? Because he started wanting the money that he was supposed to have in the first place. So it was a time Stevie J couldn't even get around. He couldn't even be around. He wasn't around or nothing. When Stevie J used to come into the city, he used to come to places when he started getting back on when that love and hip hop came. So Stevie J and them came and they did some kind of big show here with Love and Hip Hop. And I actually bodyguarded him and he was with Mimi. We both went over to Mimi dressing room when she was doing her hair. I think her name Mimi. Yeah, she was doing her hair and everything like that. So we went over there together. I went to the show with him, make sure he was good the whole 9 yards. You understand? He had a phone call. He made a phone call to Puff. Puff took the phone call, and that's when they started getting back together, when Stevie J got famous on the Love and Hip Hop thing. And until then, they wasn't effing with each other. And now you hear all these kind of stuff, whereas that him and Puff is in sexual relationships with other men.
You personally, do you believe he's gay?
I couldn't see it when he was dealing with us. But once he got into that Hollywood and that love and hip hop and that situation with and his girlfriend, they strapping on in the whole 9 yards. Dog, listen here, man. I don't put shit past him. Not one thing.
What you mean scrap on?
What do you think, bro?
I don't know. I never heard that one. That's
Okay. All right. Well, I guess you need to do a little bit more living or go read a little bit more books or see movies and shit like that. His girlfriends and them is strapping on and having sex with them as if they was men's and shit like that. Get out of here, bro. Shit was crazy. And bro, listen to me. He dropped the sex tape, you understand, intentionally for notoriety and attention with Eve. They had dildos, strap-ons, and all that shit in those tapes. Come on, man. And you know this is what Diddy like. This is what they saying he like. This has been going on throughout the years. And now you living with him. A man that you once said that you hated. You ain't effing with him. But now you loyal. Come on, bro. These guys make it up as they go.
But how you know he leaked that sex tape on purpose with him and Eve?
But if you don't want that shit to get out, it's not going to get out. You understand? If you don't want that tape to get out, it's not going to get out. That's something that they have in their personal library. And he knew that would bring attention to him. He knew that would bring attention to him. And that was the thing. It's just like Kim Kardashian and Ray J. Her mother dropped that. That gave her the attention that she needed. Allegedly, her mother dropped that tape for her Ray J and Kim Kardashian. Paris Hilton. She dropped the tape too. Try to put it off on the man and the whole 9 yards. That was the thing in Hollywood, to get that notoriety so your name could stay up in there. He did the same thing, man. Stevie J was a cornball. Always have been. Look at that picture that I showed you, bruh. It was me, Tone, and one of the dudes who ran Fed magazines. Look how he looked. He was a cornball. Always have been. For a jazzy girl like E to with him, it had to be for the music.
This Kirk Burrowes lawsuit, have you seen it? He alleging some wild stuff, man.
I read most of it.
Yeah, if you look at this lawsuit, man, he claiming some wild stuff like he was forced to watch Puffy have sex at bad boy offices.
If Diddy made Kirk look at sexual acts at the bad boy office, then that just goes to show you some of the stuff that Jaguar Wright was saying was true when she said that the lawyer told her that they caught individuals in the office having sexual acts. Kirk Burrowes was the president of Bad Boy. And if he was made to look at sexual acts in the office during or after working hours, did he choose to do that or did Diddy make him do that? Diddy was the CEO, he was the president. Did he force him to do it? Maybe he did. I don't know. I never walked in none of that.
Yeah, he also claiming that Diddy would make him give him hand jobs.
Well, I guess if they had a gay relationship and Diddy requested a hand job, he was requesting a hand job from his boyfriend or what he appeared to think that Kirk was. Also, this is my president, but this is also my boyfriend. I'm in a relationship with him. It may not be known to everybody, and if he was requesting hand job, he was doing his boyfriend. He was handing his boyfriend a favor. He was giving his boyfriend a hand job. That's what Diddy thought Kirk was to him. Also his boyfriend. He may have been a president of my company, but he was my boyfriend. So if Kirk alleging that in his lawsuit, I guess he was giving him a hand.
Right. But I don't get it, man. I don't see how somebody can make you get him a hand job. You know, like how does that work?
Well, maybe he thought he was going to lose his job. Maybe the fact that Kirk thought that if he didn't do sexual acts towards Diddy that he asked him to do, he was going to lose his job. Maybe he thought he was in jeopardy. What was the situation? That's between them two. And if Kirk is now saying that Diddy forced him, did he tell somebody he's been forced to do this? He sure telling the world now. He telling the world now he's forced to do this.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out why he didn't come out sooner. He also alleging that Diddy, forced him to give him blowjobs.
Oh my God. So you telling me that in the lawsuit, and I seen it, man, that he forced him to sing in the mic. And it wasn't in the studio.
Yeah, that's what he claiming.
Yo, bro, it's crazy. It's real crazy that Kirk is alleging all these things that people always said back then. I remember when me and you had a conversation about this years ago, and you asked me, was I going to talk about it? I said, no, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to let him talk about it. I didn't know he was going to do this lawsuit and put this shit in there. But I told you years ago that I'm not going to talk about it until he talks about it. And he talked about it. So now it's fair game. That was their relationship, man. I don't know how much is forced. I know that it's a law that an employer can be brought up on charges for having sex or any kind of sexual contact with an employee. And he still was an employee of Bad Boy. And did Puff used that to his advantage? I could believe he did. He probably did. But then again, Kirk was in love with Puff and everything Puff did. So I don't know how much he forced him, but he sung in the mic.
Yeah, he also alleging that Puffy made him put stuff up his anal.
Bruh, I didn't see that in the lawsuit. But as I said again, if they were playing games like that, Diddy was foul and Kirk did it because of two things. He was afraid of Diddy and he was in love with Diddy. At that time, he would probably do anything Diddy asked him to do.
Yeah, he also alleging in this lawsuit that he was forced to look at Diddy take a shower.
Bruh, they were lovers. If Diddy got off like that, Kirk was right there to make sure he got off. So whatever Diddy wanted, Kirk did. Now, what the authorities got to say, was he doing it as his lover or was he doing it as his employee? I said it was both. I said myself it had to be both.
Yeah, it might be both. I just don't see how somebody can, make you stand right there and watch them take a shower. I mean, they in the shower, wet, taking a shower. Just walk out. It's not like they can do something to you. You know what I mean?
My man, we gotta go through this. We got you and I gotta have this conversation on the internet about how these two men decided to have a sexual relationship. You understand? And how they want to do it. You sitting over here saying you're saying that you trying to make me visualize these two motherfuckers having sex with each other, soaping each other up and all this other shit. When in fact, that these cats are sitting right here, you understand, doing unnatural shit to us men that are heterosexual, you understand? And then they bisexuals and they doing, or they trisexuals, they doing everything that's against the normal nature of life. You understand? And you sitting up here pitching, want me to picture this shit and say, yo, yeah, I don't care. I can't see I can't see this shit either. And I don't want to see it, bro. What I want to do is that if this man is telling this guy that, and he's telling us in these papers that from sex toys to making me sing in the mic, for doing anal sex with me, from making me wash showers, watch him take showers and making me do shit in the office. If he telling us all these things that he doing to this dude, and this dude ain't went and got help from nobody during that whole time, then what was it? Was that your lover or that's your boss? And if it was both, they gonna have to decide that shit in court. I don't want to decide that shit on the internet. Listen to me, bro. It ain't that important. And the fact of the matter is that I know this is an interview and you asking these questions. You understand? But this dude right here, he's painting this dude to be a monster in what he is to certain people. But do we really want to see that and hear this or talk about this?
But you know what I mean, though, man. I mean, it don't make sense.
I get what you're saying, Mighty. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so you get it. If somebody in the shower and you outside the shower, watch it, don't take a shower. I mean, come on, man. That don't sound like somebody that's making you do that. You can walk out, man.
But it's what a motherfucker say that to him. Say, man, you gonna watch me take a shower or nigga, you ain't gonna have a job in the morning. That's a boss talking. Right?
You got a choice, man. Walk out and just get fired.
You got a choice. But if he in fear of his job, he may not have a choice.
I mean, I don't want my job that bad, man, to be giving another dude hand jobs and BJs and watching them take a shower. I don't know, man. I mean, that sounds like somebody that, is willingly indulging in that kind of activity, man. Respectfully. I ain't trying to sound rude, but I'm just keeping it real.
I can't put my mind in his mindset whether he wanted to or he wasn't. I just said, and I'm telling the public out there, it was an employee and an employer, and they were lovers also. When we first started off, we used to do the building and the red zone. The building was the unsigned hype that Puff used to do parties there. The red zone was a party where he used to do Daddy's house on Wednesdays. I used to follow Puff to Kirk Burrowes' house, and he would stay there. You understand? On 111th Street and Fifth Avenue, over above Emily's. He used to stay there with Kirk Burrowes. Not staying with you got a girl and a baby, a home or like that. What are you staying with another cat for? Everybody always knew that shit. But it wasn't me to judge them. And the way Kirk used to act. He was in love with Puff for a long time. He wouldn't press charges with him. He was ready to go to jail for him. But I'll let you ask that question.
What you mean by that? He was willing to go to jail for Diddy.
Well, the police wanted, the feds wanted some information from Kirk and some papers from Kirk. Kirk was willing to hide those papers and hide that evidence that he had on documents that he had. And got caught taking them out the house and tried to hide him. He didn't know the feds had him under surveillance, and they ended up locking him up, and he ended up doing fed time.
I see. But you personally, how you feel about it? Because I know you keep saying that they was in a relationship, so I'm assuming that you feel like he did it on his own, right?
Well, like I said to you, I'm not going to say Kirk Burrowes willingly just did everything because Diddy probably first forced him on certain nights if he had a headache. If Kirk Burrowes had a headache, Diddy probably forced him on certain nights. So I can't say every night. I don't know those guys' relationship like that, but I do know that one was an employee relationship and one was a lover's relationship. And have Diddy probably forced Kirk to do certain things? He probably did because he was that type of dude. So everything and all the time they got together, I can't say it's consensual. I don't know their relationship like that.
Me personally, I don't fault Diddy. I mean, he a grown man, bro. He gave you an ultimatum. You had a choice. It's not like he put a gun to your head, man.
Let's put it like this, Mighty. I understand your analogy of what you're saying. Say if it's a woman, she got 3 kids to feed. This is her only job. Her rent is back already a month or so because the daddy ain't doing a goddamn thing for his kids. So she comes in the office and her boss says to her, listen to me, if you don't give me no head, you won't have a job in the morning. Now, this was before all these different laws to protect people at their job and their workforce happened. You got to realize this is in the late 80s, early 90s, and stuff like that. This is going down. We ain't have all these Me Too movements, these equal rights. All this shit wasn't going on. Now, we're not even going to say Kirk. We're going to say a woman. Her boss tell her to do that shit. What do you think that woman going to do 9 times out of 10 in those type of situations? She going to break out the knee pads. Cause she don't want her kids to feel that, they gonna get put out their house. They ain't gonna have Christmas. They ain't gonna have birthdays. They ain't gonna have situations that they haven't. Now, Kirk Burrowes, hey, let's put him in that position. We don't know, he lived in that apartment over there was in the 90s, it was $2,000-$3,000 for that bedroom apartment he had. He lived on Fifth Avenue. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know his financial situation. Diddy probably had him scared. If you don't do this, you ain't gonna have no job. And you know you ain't gonna be able to work no place else because I'm gonna put a word out on you. We don't know what made him do what he did. Or maybe he liked to do what he did. But right now we see a lawsuit that is going down because he did what he did. But who is we to judge how those acts came about? Was it consensual or not? I don't really give a for real. Both them niggas is gay to me. Two men lay down, two homos get up. Whether you taking it, giving it, or whatever. That's my beliefs. Now, people might not like it. I don't give a shit. What they eat don't make me shit. But what I'm saying to you is this. He's faced with a lawsuit from an employee. And that employee saying that he's been made to do some shit. We got to sit back and see how it be played out.
As you know, right, I'm interviewing Suge right now. How you feel about the comments he making about Snoop?
Well, you know, Suge and them did a lot of things to get Snoop out of jail. How is it that some physical evidence comes up missing from the police department that was in, that would have sent probably Snoop to jail? It came up missing. Suge paid a lot of money for that to happen. Snoop knows that. Physical evidence came up missing. Now, when we were out there in California, I was in the studio with Big. And Big said to D-Rock, yo, Snoop keep trying to call me and ask me where I'm at, what we doing, and what we gonna do this and do this, stuff like that. He said, leaving messages. He said, I'm not answering that phone. I'm not telling them where I'm at. So Snoop was going behind their back then, trying to get in good with Big and them, or he was trying to set Big up. I don't know. So if Suge is saying he a snake, I guess he keep his grass cut low. Because he was definitely trying to snake Big. That's what Big felt. He never called him back. He never got with him. And like Lil C said, they was out there for a month. When does him and Snoop go and smoke a blunt, eat some burgers, or do anything? Not at all. Because Big wasn't having it. He probably felt something was snake about Snoop too. Because he never got back in touch with him.
And you personally, you found that weird that he kept calling Big.
I found it weird that Big, the way Lil C said that they was cool with Snoop and everything like that, why didn't Big entertain him? Why didn't Big let him know what studio they was in? Why did Big let him know where he was at? He felt something strange about that also. You got to keep your grass cut real low when you got a bunch of snakes around you. And evidently, Suge knew a lot of this that Snoop was doing. And it made him feel a certain kind of way. You got to realize Snoop came to New York and said he didn't have a problem with Big and them. He didn't have a problem with nobody. And Pac felt a certain kind of way behind that. Went on Steve Harvey's show with Puff. Like, that's my dude, this, that, and the third. But yet and still, Big came out to California and you don't see not one picture of him and Snoop together. You don't see not one place where they smoked a blunt together. Both of them like to smoke. We was in the studio with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Snoop never came over there. So you tell me, was they really that cool? Or it was just a facade that was put up? The other night, it was crazy that I think the Notorious was playing. The song Hypnotized. The Hypnotized was playing. And every time I hear that song Hypnotized, not only March 9th play back in my mind, the time I was in the Winnebago and me and Big was discussing life and all the dreams that he had for himself and from the people around him. When he was talking about his love for Charlie Baltimore and how great of a rapper she was gonna be. You understand? When he was talking about how nice Cameron was and that he felt he was the nicest out the bunch. You know what I mean? what he was gonna do for Lil C's and Lil Kim and Junior Mafia, whether he was gonna get a new Junior Mafia, he was gonna keep like one or two guys if everybody don't show that they really want to work. His business atmosphere. It plays back to me a lot of times when I see the picture of him posted on the wall because I tried to save this kid's life. And it's just heartbroken that he told me his dreams. And I never ever to this day ever shared it with any of his kids. But they could come to the Art and Dialogue and see it. All right?
How you feel about Angie Stone passing away?
Man, it's crazy when somebody can tell you that, and she told a lot of people, that people are trying to kill her. She made those statements 2 weeks before she died. Angie Stone said to people around her, she was in fear of her life. And that happened because she found out that she had a lot of money in this publishing and this music game that she had not been able to recoup. So she was doing an audit to recoup the money in which these music record companies owed her throughout the years for songs she had written. And then she comes up dead, and they try to say that she was hit by an 18-wheeler. They said she flew out the window, and it comes that we find out because one of the guys on the internet paperwork, Countdown John, went to the funeral with a hidden camera and saw her whole body. And it didn't seem like she was hit by a diesel. Said she looked beautiful in her casket. He showed that on the internet, bro. So Angie Stone, she said that somebody was trying to kill her. Somebody was trying to murder her. She was in fear of her life. And 2 weeks later, she come up dead, bro. You don't find that strange? An accident that 9 to 10 people was in a car with her, in a van with her, and she the only one comes up dead? My thoughts about that is, if you think the record company owe you some money, if you think you're trying to recoup some money from the record industry, you better think twice, and unless you got some real protection or some real people behind you, because it's crazy.
So you personally, you feel like it was foul play?
Nope, nobody gonna, bruh. I think it's foul play behind the Angie Stone stuff, bruh. Because why would she be in fear of her life? Why would she start cleaning up and start saying that she feel like she's gonna be unalive? That somebody's gonna do something to her? Why would she prepare for her death? And then she come up dead. Strange, bruh. And that's what happens in the music industry. These people have not, they may not seem real big, but they done wrote music for the greats. She wrote music for the greats. You understand? She wrote music for musicals. She wrote music for movies. And she never got paid her money. And then when they get these investigators to go and investigate these publishing investigators, and they go and investigate everything that was bought, sold, or stole, and they come back with all these millions of dollars that these big record companies got. They take them to law, they take them to court. Somebody got to pay this. They say you ain't got to pay no dead artists.
Damn, man. R.I.P. to her, man. Unfortunate. But to get back to this lawsuit, how you feel about Kirk Burrowes saying that, Diddy destroyed his career?
He did. He did. Diddy destroyed his reputation. Kirk is right about that. I was there on those occasions. When Kirk was dealing with Mary, brought Mary's career back. Kirk was a musical genius, whereas that, a marketing genius. He knew how to get the money. He knew the people who to go at for the money, and he did what he had to do to bring Mary back. Diddy planted bad seeds, was telling people don't do business with him. So he's right about that, brother. And after he got married from him, Kirk never worked no place else. So he's not lying about that. He's diabolical when it comes to that. He did it to Mary J. Blige. He did it to the band members. I mean, he did it to Wendy Williams. He did it to Wendy Williams. He's diabolical when it comes to shit like that, bro. He owned the music business in New York City and California. He had friends everywhere, bro. He had friends in high places. He owned the radio stations. You ain't see that Tupac interview from Mary J. from
Angie
what's her name?
Martinez.
Angie Martinez, because of Diddy. That's probably one of the greatest. That's probably one of the greatest of all times, probably interviews ever. He stopped that from coming out. He got Wendy Williams fired. Anybody he told in the music business not to mess with somebody, they didn't. Tracy Waples don't even know this. Tracy Waples is probably one of the top musical geniuses in the industry that nobody knows. She was behind Rihanna. She was behind Method Man. Tracy Waples is a musical genius. I sat there when she was supposed to do a deal with L.A. Reid and them. And L.A. Reid told Diddy, she asked him for like 300 to 400,000, something like that. He said, man, you can get that bitch cheaper than that. Offer her 250. I just started laughing. And Tracy was his friend. So to see him do that and say he did that to Kirk Burrowes, and Kirk Burrowes had that in his lawsuit, he ain't lying about that, bro. Nobody was going to deal with Kirk Burrowes or give him a job or do anything. Look at all the great things he did for Bad Boy, getting the money and everything. Why he ain't working someplace else? Leote left Bad Boy and went to Def Jam and started working with Rough Riders. He ain't put no bad word on her. So Kirk he ain't wrong about that one, bro. Not at all.
Yeah, he also alleged in his lawsuit that, in late 95, Diddy held him down to a bed in the simulated intercourse until he ejaculated.
Bro, we still on this. That shit is crazy. It's asinine. It's to the point where it's that this nigga showing the monster side of Diddy that he should have been came out with this shit long time ago. Kirk got all this information that he had. You understand? 5, 6 years ago when I came out with this shit and saying the shit that Puff was doing, he didn't say a motherfucking word. He stayed mute. He stayed quiet. Now that other people came out and he's in a vulnerable situation, he hoping people that's going to come out here and feel a certain way for him because that shit happened to him. Okay, he did all this shit to you. When did you go and try to get help? He pinned you to the bed. He made you ejaculate on yourself and this like that. When did you go get help, Kirk? When did you ask somebody to help you? You didn't ask nobody to help you because at the time, y'all was lovers. And maybe, just maybe, You enjoyed y'all situation.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like he enjoyed it. But I want to ask you about Puffy case. It looked like they trying to connect him to Pac murder, man.
Well, the way the lawsuit and the way the law enforcement's been talking about it is that uh, they believe that there was a check for $1 million that were paid out. What I've always said before is that follow the paperwork. Follow the paperwork. Kirk Burrowes came out of his lawsuit and said that Diddy had something to do with it. You understand? At that time, Kirk knew how to get the money, knew how to put the money into place. So follow the check. Everybody was saying, yo, nobody writes a check for $1 million for this, that, and the third. Well, like I told people a long time ago, the individuals that they try to say that had something to do with it or got paid for it showed us a check for $1 million. I don't know that to be true. I know that that individual told us that he got a check for Black Ground Records for selling a record company that I didn't know he had. I never said he did. So follow the paperwork if that's true or not. So now if it goes back to that, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. And I'm still gonna go with what I said. It's gonna come back, bro. It's gonna come back, bro. If they do, it's everything is already laid out there. All they have to do is 9 times out of 10, follow the paperwork. Keefy D gonna be free pretty soon.
You really believe that Keefe D he gonna get free?
Yeah, he's gonna be free. What I'm afraid of is this. When individuals was trying to get Keefe D out of jail, they was trying to get Keefe D out of jail to unalive him or have something to do with him being unalive. That's probably the safest place for him to be to a certain degree, because it definitely can happen there, depending on where you're being housed at, what ward, and the whole 9 yards. But if something happened to Kiffy D, LA, the Vegas Police Department would be like, yo, our job, we was trying to do our job. We had to kill him for Tupac. We was going to convict him, but he came up dead. No, it's a cop-out. They have no, what you call that? They have no evidence. They have no evidence to prove that Keefe D had anything to do with the death of Tupac Shakur.
I don't know, man. I mean, we all seen that video of him crying, man. It looked like he losing hope.
He know that he's in a position and he's in a situation that he was told to make up some lies. He was thought that Vegas would never be the ones who come after them. He made up some lies for cops in California. That's a proven fact. That's a proven fact. FBI agents came out and said he made up lies and he was told a script, given a script, and adhered to the script that was given to him. And he said what he was said to get out of another drug charge that could have landed him life in prison. He did it. And now he knows that Vegas don't have nothing against him, nothing on him. He wants to be home with his family.
But why is he saying he wasn't in Vegas? Like everybody know he was in Vegas. I don't get why he going with that alibi.
Because they have to prove that he's in Vegas. They still got to prove it. I know what I heard, but they got to prove it. Show me a picture. Show me my signature somewhere. Show me somebody that saw me and gonna testify and get on the stage on the stand and say they saw me in Vegas.
So how you think it's gonna end? You think Keefe D is gonna walk and we never gonna find out who killed Pac?
Well, first of all, they should go through and all those people that told the Vegas police lies and they used their information to bring this guy into the court system and waste the taxpayers' money, they should bring them up on charges. Greg Kading should be brought up on charges. Whoever gave false statements to the prosecutors should be brought up on charges. Keefe D should get him a lawyer and sue the Vegas Police Department and whoever brought him up on charges on the felonious information that they got from their witnesses at the grand jury. They should be brought up on charges. If the judge sees the information that they have and they know, 9 times out of 10, she's gonna let them walk.
You still believe Big Dre is the one that killed Pac?
Well, based on what they said, a big arm came out the window, and I'm just going by what I heard. They say Dre was in the car. I'm thinking Dre was the one who was the shooter. But then again, I'm looking at this. They got other fact stuff that came out. And I've always said this, brother. Feelings don't change facts. Facts change feelings. They said they found the car. And that car is in the police report. The car that did the shooting. That they did the shooting from. What did they put in there? Where did that come from? That's in the report. What's the ballistics? Was there gunpowder residue on the car? Was any bullets, anything found in the car? That's in that Blake Vegas police report that they don't tell us about. That car is the only physical evidence they have in that police report. But it talks about very little ballistics. Well, see, the thing about it is that based on the information that we had at the time, you know what I'm saying, who all was allegedly supposed to be in the car when Keefe D told the story and stuff like that. So you would only think that Dre was the one who did the shooting. But then when you find out that later on, LAPD was down there doing some kind of gang surveillance and gang stuff with the Las Vegas Police Department, you would think that the LAPD and they rogue cops that was there may have had something to do with it too. And what Suge Knight said, you solve one case, you solve them both. Suge Knight is literally probably the only eyewitness that we have to Pac shooting. And I know Keefe D them and I know Dre them didn't kill Big. He said you solve one case, you solve them both. We know that Gaines, Mac, was at the Peterson Museum the night Big was killed. We know that LAPD has something to do with the notorious Big's murder because they would not have put those evidence, those pictures in a sealed court documents in a sealed case file. They sealed them for 50 years. We know that's because they know some of their people had something to do with the notorious Big death. So if you solve one, you solve them both. That came from one of the eyewitnesses, Suge Knight. I just want to say this. I don't know how you're gonna put this in there. You know what I'm saying? Um, a lot of people don't understand that we've done these interviews throughout the years, and these interviews are where people come and ask me questions, be it on the Art of Dialogue or somebody else program. I've always been that type of dude that tried to any principle that I had, whether it was Mac 10, whether it was Exhibit, whether it was Nate Dogg coming from the West Coast. Shout out to my man Pete that used to give me those contracts. Scott Storch, Fat Joe, Pap, 50, Jesse Jackson, Derek Jeter, uh, Martin Lawrence, Alan Payne, any individual that I ever worked for, my job and my goal was always to get them back home to their family, even if I had to risk my own life to do it. The notorious Big lost his life. I was there. Even though he wasn't my principal, the information that I had and me being there, I still take fault in not making sure he got home that night, that he got back home to his family. And that's something that's going to live with me for the rest of my life, brother. And people don't understand. They. If I could have told this fucking story, or I could have let the people know what really happened during that time, without putting my face on camera, without being in all these interviews, and people understood my pain and what I went through. If they knew the true story and they would have got the true story, I would have rather that happen that way, because I never wanted to be famous or get to be known from none of this shit. And that's all I want to say.
Gene Deal, great interview. Another insightful, incredible interview. Can't wait for the people to see it, man.
Salute, brother.